Hey folks, Rob Daniels here for the movie, TV, and video game soundtrack program Visions in Sound. I can be found every Saturday morning, 12 to 2 a.m. on FM 98.5. And if you miss the show, which, hey, does happen, you can also find me on my website, visionsinsound.ca. So this time, I know I realize it's a different day, and usually I release my videos on Sunday. But today I wanted to bring you a recommendation video. And recommendation videos I haven't done in a while, and I want to make them a bit of more of a regular thing for the channel. So if you want to see more recommendation videos, just let me know in the comments below. I would love to do more of these. I love to recommend soundtracks to people and stuff that they may not necessarily have heard before. So we're going to be talking about the pivotal year of 1992. Now, why 1992, you ask? Well, 1992 is actually quite a pivotal year. First of all, what prompted me to start with 1992 was finally the release of the expanded version of Medicine Man on Varese Sarabande. Finally, guys, you finally did it. We finally get it. We're finally getting an expanded edition of the score. One of my favorite scores of all time. It speaks to me on a level that is amazing, and I love the score and have loved the score ever since I heard it in the film way back in 1992. So why 1992? Well, I looked into other films, and there are a lot of films that came out in 1992 that influenced my collecting and ended up getting in a whole bunch of different scores and that sort of thing. And for me, it's one of those years that it was, like I said, a pivotal year for collecting. Now I've chose 5, and the reason why I chose 5 is that if I chose any more, I would have gone insane trying to bring them all to you. So I chose 5 of the more interesting ones that came out of that year. So now, first up on the show this week is a score that I absolutely love. And when I first saw the film way back in 1992, it surprised me as to just how good a film can be if it's written well and if it's edited well. And that is the film Sneakers, with a score by James Horner. And of course you're going to go, James Horner, that's one of the people you say. No, I don't say that I don't want you to listen to James Horner scores. I say that there are other composers out there beside James Horner that you can listen to. And Sneakers is one of those scores that I highly recommend you listen to. It is a fantastic score. And from the opening track to its foregone conclusion, it is a wonderful, wonderful score. It has some great melodies, some great moments in it that personally I just love. And what I'm going to do is in each one of these cases, I'm going to play 2 of my favorite tracks off of each selection. So here we go. there you go. An all-star cast, which I'm truly surprised did not get a television series or a follow-up film. But this is a fantastic premise and a film that sticks with me as one of those go-to films if you're ever feeling really crappy. Put this one in, you'll feel better by the end. Or you'll feel very paranoid. Either way. Next is also the 1992 film, and I'm sorry, I won't keep repeating that, Last of the Mohicans. Now, this was a Michael Mann film, and I have spoken of Michael Mann before, and how much I really appreciate his work. His work on the 1999 film The Insider is inspired, but this is more of a period piece. This needed to be, kind of a showcase for Daniel Day-Lewis. And for me, the film just really popped in a lot of cases. It definitely has that, of course, based on the famous novel, of course. But it needed a fantastic score. And so what do? You bring in two composers. But you've got Trevor Jones and you've got Randy Idleman. Two composers who are at the top of their games back in the late 80s, early 90s. So you had these wonderful composers on this film, and I've heard people talk about how much they love the themes, how much they love the score itself. For me, it has always been just the score itself. To be honest, I have not seen the film in a long time, so it's something that I will probably have to remedy for sure to make sure that I see the film again. But have a listen. This is not the original score. The original score that was released missed some things. So in this case, this is a more expanded release, and this was actually, again, released by Varese Sarabande, but this one is under the baton of Joel McNeely. It is a re-recording, but I want you to listen to it because it still covers this fantastic score beautifully from 1992. All right, next up, another recommendation of mine, highly recommended in this one, is a score from a film that I saw in the theater and was kind of like, well, the first one was good. Is this one going to be any better? Well, we all know about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Well, so I'm talking about Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. This is a Rick Moranis film, and he was the star of the film, of course, and he did a fantastic job. Comedies are usually not my thing. I do like them, but this was kind of a goofy premise, and where do you go with a sequel? If you shrink people down, well, you make them big. And that's what they did in this case with their son. This is a fun movie. But what is equally fun is the Bruce Broughton score that came from it. This is an interesting one because I once interviewed Bruce Broughton many, many years ago and told him that he was the greatest composer that nobody ever heard of. Now, of course, that's kind of, sort of not true. I mean, he did do some fantastic scores later on. But this 1992 film really, it shows off a fun side of the composer that, I don't know, maybe they don't often get a chance to do, and when they do, it really comes through. Have a listen. This is Bruce Broughton's Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. So, folks, now I'm going to be bringing you a score from a film that you'll be going, huh? Yeah, it's from a film called Year of the Comet. Now, don't be confused like I was when I first heard the title of a film called Night of the Comet from 1984, which is actually a zombie horror flick. Look it up. In any case, Year of the Comet is a romantic comedy. And again, not a huge fan of romantic comedies, but this one is a film that, again, I haven't seen for a long time. So I have vague recollections of what this is. But the score itself, done by composer Hummy Man. Now, Hummy Man was a composer that I spoke to in 2000 for actually Thomas and the Magic Railroad. And he was fantastic to speak to. I'm really glad I got a chance to speak to him. He's a really great guy, Canadian on top of it, so I really appreciated the fact that I was able to speak to him. But one of the scores that he sent to me to play on my show was Year of the Comet. And I thought, I wasn't too big into it. But the whole idea is that the thing is that it's called the Year of the Comet because of a bottle of wine from 1811. And also, according to a lot of people, it was one of the year's best years in the history of European wine. So there's that. Year of the Comet is, like I said, it's kind of a I don't know, it's a fun story where you've got three different people who are one's trying to get back the bottle of wine, the other is trying to steal it, and the other one just wants it for the money. So there's that. And they're trying to get this bottle of wine to where it needs to go. So there's that. It's a fun little score. Have a listen to Hummy Man's take on the Year of the Comet. Recommendation should come as no surprise. It is a score by Shirley Walker from a film that I knew a lot of people scratching their heads going, this is a John Carpenter film? Yes, I am speaking of the John Carpenter film Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Now, I have featured Memoirs of an Invisible Man on a previous show, but this is a score that is definitely worth having a look at. So from what I understand, Memoirs of an Invisible Man is historically significant as it is the first North American film that was scored solo by a woman. Shirley's score is fantastic and you should just go out and buy it. For me, it was it was just one of those scores that I bought. I enjoyed the film, despite Chevy Chase, and I thought it was a wonderful film to just sit back and enjoy. And again, Shirley's score is fantastic. I cannot speak more highly than I can for Shirley's score here. Now, Shirley would, of course, go on to write music for, of course, the Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, many other scores beyond that. But I think it's you hear those early seeds in Memoirs of an Invisible Man, and it is wonderful to hear her come out with this from a John Carpenter film. Yes, a John Carpenter film. I was, like I said, to this day, people are still scratching their heads going, John Carpenter? It makes sense, though. He was, anyway, regardless of that, have a listen to Shirley's score. You will not be disappointed. So there you go. 5 scores that I recommend from the 1992 year. And there are so many more that I could have chosen. I mean, I'm just thinking of a couple right now that I should have added to the list. But you know what? They're still out there, and they'll show up, I guarantee, later on, perhaps. In any case, so please, like, share, and subscribe. And also, something else I'm going to add is comment. Please comment. I would love to hear what your favorite scores are, what you'd like to see on the show, genres that you'd like to see on the show. Just good stuff all around. That's what I want to see. And also, there are so many other fantastic scores out there that you should have a look at that I will bring to you. Some of them may be not quite what you're looking for, but I like to present them because it shows a different side of scoring rather than just the standard stuff that usually shows up when people talk about film scores or media scores. So with that in mind, you can catch my show every Saturday morning, 12 to 2 a.m. on FM 98.5. And if you miss the show, which, hey, sometimes does happen, you can also try my website, visionsinsound.ca. I can also be found on Blue Sky these days at visionsinsound.bsky.social. I'm also on Good Pods, a downloadable app for your phone or other type devices, and I can be found on many of the other podcatchers out there, including the likes of Apple Music. Well, folks, take time out, have a listen to these scores. Fantastic stuff. What I will say is this. Though it is a crazy world right now, it seems like everything's closing in and things are going on, and if you're having trouble, film music is a good way of kind of making those worries go away for a little while. But if you are truly having problems, please call 911 for immediate help. You can also try dialing or calling 988 for the Suicide Crisis Helpline. You can also try 1-844-HERE-247 or HERE247.ca. They all offer ways of getting help if you or someone you know may be suffering from mental health issues. All right, folks. Well, that's 5. You want some more? Just let me know. I'd love to bring them to you. So in that case, get out there and listen to some fantastic scores, because there are composers out there that are worthy of your time, that are not John Williams or the other standard composers that people bring up when they talk about media music. So with that in mind, have yourself a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. So now, this score is apparently, from what I've heard, the first time a woman scored a North American film solo. The light just came on. Son of a gun. Hang on.